Okay, so on the video today, as we continue to preview some of our breakout sessions for our annual meeting, we have Roy Wooten with us. And Roy is at Waller Baptist Church and is an elder there. But tell you what, let me just let Roy tell you a little bit about himself. Roy, tell us about yourself, about your ministry, and in a minute here, I'll let you tell us a little bit about your breakout session.
You betcha. So I'm a counselor with a pastor's heart. Went to school to be a counselor, been a bivocational pastor, and been about leading people through pain points in their life my whole career, sitting with people in their pain. And I've had the great opportunity to lead some wonderful parachurch ministries. And God has me at a parachurch ministry that I really believe in called the Crucible Project. And so we are igniting Christ-like change through experiences of radical honesty and grace, primarily through transformational weekends all over the place. In fact, as we're recording this, I just got through in inner city Chicago with some of the most traumatic stories I've ever heard of gun violence and all this past weekend. And God just used us to work some real miracles in their hearts and minds.
Awesome. Well, our annual meeting is coming up October 21st, and we have our breakout sessions, and then we have our lunch, and then our main speaker, who's a guy by the name of Steve Viers, who is a counselor and pastor in Lafayette, Indiana. And Steve does lots of great counseling work with people as well that are going through trauma and different situations in life. Now, your breakout is specifically called, if I can remember it correctly, yes, it's Preventing Burnout, the Impact of Secondary Trauma, and What to Do About It. Tell us a little bit about what you hope to communicate to some of our pastors and lay leaders at this breakout session.
Yeah, so, God built us with a brain that can sit with people who are going through rough times and minister. And our heart is to help bring people closer to God, bring their awareness so that they have comfort. And we leave there frequently feeling good that God used us, but there's a little bit of whatever we just experienced that kind of hangs on us. And over the long haul in ministry, that can be a heavy burden. And it's the way God designed us that it sticks. And in science and research, it's called secondary trauma. I didn't experience just what happened, but because I saw it or sat with someone in it, I'm now carrying some piece of it. Our bodies can hang on to that stuff, but our heart is that we leave that at the cross. And yet our body doesn't always let us just let go of it so easily. And so I want to bring a message of how to notice that I'm carrying a burden so that I don't get burnout, and some things that you can do about it when you're experiencing some of the effects of pastoring and caring for people for so long. What you can do to kind of renew your soul, as it were, so that you can have more life in caring for those that God has you pastoring.
That's awesome. I think that, I know, having met you, Roy, and having talked to you before, that you've been helpful for me just to sit and allow me to share some of the situations that I've gone through as a pastor. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but it seems to me that we're seeing an increased burnout rate among pastors, and maybe even a mental health crisis that a lot of pastors are going through. The suicide rate for pastors is going up. What do you attribute that to, and what can churches do about that?
Yeah, so there's a real lack of awareness from church folk about the impact of the last several years on pastors. If you're anything like me as a pastor, the pandemic was some of the toughest years to be in the ministry. And what I signed up for in evangelism and in discipleship was interrupted with arguments over different things around the pandemic. and political divisiveness that showed up in the church, and people seeing things different ways. And it just took a toll. And so we had a lot of departures from the ministry during that time. And I think a lot of pastors come to the point where they leave the ministry because they don't have some of the tools that help them deal with the burdens that they carry as part of the ministry. And they didn't teach that whenever I was in grad school and whenever I was in college in the Bible department. And I don't think most pastors are taught how to care for themselves as they care for others. And so this is like prevention, so that there's not an emergency room visit. So,
Yeah.
prevention. So, what can I do in my daily, in my weekly, and in my regular life so that I can do the marathon that is long-term ministry?
That's great. That's great. Well, I'm really looking forward to what you have to share with the pastors. I'm very thankful for you, thankful for your church. Waller Baptist is one of the best supporters of our network, and I've always just really appreciated the support we've received just from Waller, from Pastor Blake, and I'm very thankful for you, and just and pray that God will bless your ministry. Just one last thing: if people do want to learn more about the Crucible Project, where could they go to learn more information about that?
Yeah, so thecrucibleproject.org, or they can catch us on whatever way they do podcasts at the Crucible Project podcast, or any of the social media. We've got social media channels. So.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, Brother Roy, we're looking forward to seeing you here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be there, and really honored that I get to be a part of it. Looking forward to the keynote speaker too.
Well,
and I'm looking forward to hugging you.
All right. Same here.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
You bet. Bless you.